They don't know what you've gone through. They don't know what you've done. They don't know the pain and the sweat and the tears that you put into things. So you let that in, and then you make that your own voice, and you start criticizing yourself, and you forget that actually you have way more to offer than that criticism. Welcome to the It Matters podcast. I'm your host, Walter Perez, and let's dive in as we help you grow your mindset and elevate your leadership. Hey everybody, welcome back to the It Matters podcast. My name is Walter Perez and I'm your host, and I'm excited that you're joining me in another episode. You know, I really feel committed and strong about being on purpose with giving you some content that will get you to think. You know, maybe we don't always have the answers, but at least it'll spark your imagination. It'll encourage you, motivate you to change some things and to think about some things that will make you better. And that's my desire too when I bring guests on to this podcast, that you will lean into conversations and see how people have done and learned things, and hopefully will make you better. And overall, we're trying to guide you and direct you to lead well and to be thinking about how we can make the world a better place. And so I appreciate you joining me. Please pass this episode on. Add value to somebody, help us spread some positivity and some good thoughts so we can impact the world for better. And so I appreciate you joining me. Today, though, I wanted to bring you another episode that just to share some thoughts that I've been thinking about around this idea of avoiding the 3 C's. And what are the 3 C's? The 3 C's are comparing, criticizing, and complaining. Have you heard of those before? I didn't come up with them. I've learned that through other people and reading and listening to podcasts as well. So I just thought maybe I would bring you my take and my perspective on these 3 words. And I really wanted to chat about the importance of avoiding these, avoiding being a person that compares, that criticizes, and that complains, because these can be very negative words. They can be very negative perspectives that doesn't actually help anybody. It doesn't help people out there that you're coming in contact with, your people that you're leading, and it definitely doesn't help you. And so I wanted to bring you some thoughts about that, because what sparked this whole episode was that I saw something on social media that I had seen before, but it reappeared, and many of you probably have seen it. And that is where there's an illustration where there's a helicopter that shows up and it's flying in the air. It's a fancy, very cool looking helicopter. And then a Lamborghini drives up beside it, and the person in it says, man, I wish I had that helicopter. I wish I was riding in there. I wish I had that. And they were longing for that instead of the Lamborghini. And this Lamborghini is a supercar, fancy, beautiful car. And so you got this person comparing themselves and wishing they had that helicopter. And then you got somebody that drives up in an older car. It's not anything fancy. It's maybe a little bit junky and it doesn't have anything special. And they're looking at this Lamborghini going, man, I wish I had that Lamborghini. And then we have this next part of the illustration where there's somebody that rides their bicycle next to this car that wasn't all that fancy, and says, man, I wish I just had a car. I wish I could drive and I didn't have to ride this bike. And then a person with who was walking walks up to the bicycle and says, man, I wish I had a bike. I wish I didn't have to walk everywhere. And I wish I had just a simple bicycle that I can get around. And then to the end of the illustration, there's somebody that comes up in a wheelchair looking at this person that is walking, and they're thinking to themselves, man, I wish I could just walk. I wish I could walk somewhere and not have to be hauling this wheelchair wherever I go because I need it. It's a neat, interesting illustration because it just shows you that there is comparison that can be made. There's this wishful thinking of going like, hey, I want the next thing. I want to have what that other person has. And what's dangerous about that is because it steals away from what we actually have, and it takes away from us focusing on the blessing and being thankful for the things we do have. And we end up comparing ourselves to other people, saying, well, man, I'm doing okay, but if I was them, I would be doing better. If I had what they had, it would be way better. And that comparison can end up, becoming this next level of criticizing, and then you can't have what they have, so you can't have it either. They can't have it either, and so you start criticizing them, and you start being negative, and maybe imposing that they didn't do well, and that they don't deserve it, and that they've taken shortcuts to get it, and you can come up with a lot of things when you're being negative. And then you end up just complaining, and you end up becoming bitter, and you're not happy with your life, and you end up just thinking that you always get the worst of the worst, and you have bad luck, and nothing goes well for you, and you get caught up in this vicious cycle of comparing, criticizing, and complaining, and it doesn't help anybody, because you're being so negative towards them, but then you're also being negative to yourself. And I think that it's important to pause for a second, because you can use these three words to look upon somebody else in a negative way, but you can actually end up looking towards yourself in a negative way. And let me give you an example of how that would look like for you. Yeah, you know what you've done in life, how your past, where you came from, you also know your intentions, what you desire and what you haven't done, and your work habit, and and the things that you do behind closed doors, and the things that you don't do. And so you end up criticizing yourself, for example, about the things that you're not doing. You end up comparing yourself to your past. You end up comparing yourself to your old self, going, well, I used to be that. Maybe I used to do things very well, and now I don't. Or I used to, have this desire and this vision and this mission in life, and now I don't. And you end up judging yourself through a lens of your broken self in the past, and forget that, hey, actually, you don't have to be that person from the past. Or you maybe compare yourself to this person that you wish you could be, that you're not yet, and it's not coming fast enough, and it's not evolving at the rate that you want. And so you compare yourself to somebody that you could be, but you're not. You criticize yourself that you always drop the ball. You criticize the past, where you really dropped the ball, and you think like what people have said about you and what people are saying about you today, and you criticize, and you start believing what others are saying about you, and they're not true. You criticize other people's opinions, and then they haven't done it, and so you end up giving them free real estate in your mind when they don't even belong there. They don't know what you've gone through. They don't know what you've done. They don't know the pain and the sweat and the tears that you put into things. So you let that in, and then you make that your own voice, and you start criticizing yourself, and you forget that actually you have way more to offer than that criticism. And you start complaining now, and you start giving this, well, I never do things that way, and I always have that bad luck, like I was sharing before. You create this negative narrative in your life that keeps you stuck. And what I mean by this vicious cycle is that you keep repeating it, and keeps going on, and you never break through, and you never break off that. And so I wanted to bring these words up because they're super important to pay attention to. Maybe you're doing all three, or maybe you're just doing one, but it's still dangerous. Maybe you're comparing to other people. Maybe you're comparing yourself to the things that you have or haven't done. Maybe you're criticizing yourself all the time because you expect more, and you don't have enough grace on yourself. You criticize other people because if you can't have it, then they shouldn't either. And so you want to bring them down to your level, or you want them to fail, and you're wishing the worst upon them because you're not able to do it, or because you just don't know how. Or maybe you become this person that just complains about everything. That if you complain, you can just stay stuck in this posture of saying, well, that's just who I am. Is it really? Well, if you choose to, if you want to focus on that, that's who you'll become. There's that quote that says, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. That's exactly what happens in this situation. If you think you can rise up to that level and you can make it happen. If you think you can't, you're going to be right as well, because you're going to believe it so much, and that's the only thing you're going to focus on. So I have a perspective that maybe will help you break from this, and it's going to be very simple. And you've heard me maybe talk about this before, but I want you to really pay attention to this. When you criticize, when you compare, when you complain, it steals the ability for you to focus on the present moment of what you do have. And when you do that, it steals the opportunity for you to be grateful. It takes the opportunity away for you to appreciate what you do have. That simple illustration about the helicopter, Lamborghini, the basic car, the bicycle, the person walking in the wheelchair. What it does in that situation, everybody has their challenges for sure. Everybody has their victories in that as well. But when we compare ourselves to somebody else, when we focus on something that we don't have, and when we envy somebody and we focus on somebody else in that negative way, it takes away from the opportunity of us being grateful for what we do have. I tell you this. Are you having a hard time in life? Potentially. Is it tough? For sure. Is there going to be challenges? Of course. Is it going to be the last time you experience that? Probably not. But the reality is that if you just pause for a moment and go to the positive side and go, okay, what am I grateful for? What am I thankful for today in this moment? It allows you to just settle for a moment and say, hey, actually, you know what? I do have a car. I'm thankful that even though it may be a beater and maybe it's not what I fully want or what I'm aiming for, it actually does accomplish a lot of things. It allows me to drive and get places. I'm very grateful that I actually have my health. I'm able to walk. I'm able to breathe and move around still. I'm not, I'm not down on my luck with that. And I actually am. I'm pretty healthy. I should be grateful about that. There's moments that you can pause and realize, hey, I'm not where I want to be, but I am content where I'm at, because it makes me grateful for the things that I have. It allows me to count my blessings. When was the last time you counted your blessings? When was the last time you stopped and said, hey, you know what? My life is pretty good. But I also understand one other thing in this. That I'm not who I used to be. Yes, I came from a hard past, but I've come a long way. And thank you, God, that I'm not who I used to be. And thank you that I've learned some things. Thank you that I'm continuing to learn. Thank you that I'm not where I was, and I came from a rough past, but hey, man, there's a lot of victories that I've had today, and I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my kids. I'm thankful for the job that I have, even when it's tough, even when I don't want to be there. Thank you that I am actually in a place where I have a lot of blessings, and there's a lot of people that wish that they were where I was, or that they had what I had. Thank you that I'm in a good place. You can be content in gratitude. But that doesn't mean that you just have to stay complacent and you'll never grow, because I think that you have potential to continue to grow. That's why we're always growing. That's why we're always trying to adjust and tweak and learn new things, because in growing, we end up tapping into our potential and we continue to pursue. It's okay to pursue and to be looking to become the better version of ourselves. You can be grateful, you can be content, while at the same time pursuing a life that's growing you and making you better, so you can maximize your God-given potential that ends up impacting a lot of people. And you can impact people in this moment of gratitude as well, because when you're living to the fullest, when you're living in the moment of saying, hey, I have some skill sets, I have some thoughts, I have some abilities, some giftings that are working right now in this season that I'm in, but I'm also sharpening my skills. I'm also learning and growing. I'm sharpening my mind. I'm learning how to do new things so that I could continue to grow and become the better version of myself. It's incredible when you live that in that way. You're allowed to pursue, but just don't make that that desire to grow be out of envy or be out of comparison, be out of criticizing or complaining. Like allow yourself to be encouraged and motivated and inspired to be better, because you want to make sure you are tapping into your potential, that out of that you're going to be able to impact people, and that you're going to be able to make the world a better place. Make sure that as you are stepping into that, though, that you're coming from a place to make the world a better place. We need more encouragement and positive people that inspire in our society today. It's so easy to criticize. It's so easy to complain. It's so easy to compare. You know that? It's so easy to do that, because when we are not living in a posture of where we're actually trying to do something good, we want to bring other people down, or we want to bring ourselves down to make ourselves feel better for the disciplines and the good habits we haven't put in place. But guess what? You can change. You can make that choice today to be a little bit different. And so I really wanted to encourage you to avoid these 3 C's, or eliminate them wherever possible. We're humans. We're going to drop the ball. We're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. Hey, that's just part of life. But the idea here is, can we pause at some point and go, okay, I can improve that. Even if I still complain on my worst days, well, what I'm going to do is, instead of making it a lifestyle, I'm just going to shorten it, and I'm just going to complain today. And tomorrow I'm going to get up with a better attitude and make sure that I don't stay stuck in that. Or maybe I will allow myself to complain in this moment, in this morning, but I'm not going to do that for the rest of the day. That's how we grow. That's how we learn. Yes, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to criticize, because we're humans. Yeah, we're going to play this comparison game. But let's just give our head a shake a little bit and go, okay, I don't want to live in that. I want to be that person that is not only looking at, the best in me and knowing that I can do better, and that I'm actually a good person, and I have a value, and that God has created me on purpose for a purpose, and that I can also look and to other people and add value to them. And when we realize that negativity can suck the life out of people and can set them up on a course to not do anything good. There's enough people out there being negative, and we think there's some of us out there that think that being negative, we're not being negative when we are, and we think it's being helpful. It's not. It's not being helpful. It's toxic. It's poison. We got to quit it. We got to stop doing that. And let's figure out a way to contribute to society by actually helping people and by adding value to them. Anyhow, I really hope that this adds value to you, as I am able to rant a little bit about some thoughts with this. Take a moment, take a time out, pause on how that may be affecting you, and just tweak it a little bit, pivot, so then that you can realign yourself to being a leader that adds value, and that is actually serving people, and that is actually making them better. And because if you do that, I really do believe that we're going to continue to be those leaders on missions that understand that it's a win-win when the leader leads well. We all get to win. Thanks again for joining me in this episode. Please share it. Please comment. Please pass it on to somebody who needs to hear this. And let's continue to grow together. I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye for now.